All right, Celtics late night. Sam LaFrance is here again. He's back.
We're back.
And we're winning. We're up 2-1. Celtics dominate. 20-point win, 104-84. A defensive masterclass. Never in doubt. Sam, how are you? How's the heart?
Fantastic. This is like the best day I've had in probably 2 weeks. Just watching them whomp the Heat. Never even had to think about it. They didn't even mess around at the end. They just played defense, tried, built a lead, and then didn't give it up.
Wow.
What a day.
Yeah, like no reason to really panic, I guess, at any point in this game. I think
we did
panicked a lot.
Whoa, let's get some stuff.
Yeah. Oh, we panicked a lot. Derrick White's dad, Richard White, if you're listening, friend of the program, completely owned me on Twitter earlier. We'll pop it up here. The Heat cut the lead to about 18. I think that was the closest the Heat got in the third quarter was 18. And I tweeted, effing Celtics, dude, put them away. After the game, Mr. White, won by 20, have a Foster's. And then I said, I'm sorry. Because I'm a coward. I'm not built for this like these athletes are, like the parents of athletes are. They're like, Mr. White's calm, collected. Not you, not me. We were like screaming, but no reason to. They took care of business.
I was thinking about before the game. I was like, oh man, the Celtics would be fucked if I had to play in this game. I'd be like, oh my god, we're gonna lose. They'd be like, dude, shut the fuck up.
We're up 20.
We did Celtics the Roundtable a couple of weeks ago, like right before they signed Nimi to the final roster spots. We're like, who should they sign for the final roster spot? And like I joked, I was like, you can sign me, and like my whole purpose would be to be there as a regular guy, so they could all look at me and be like, oh yeah, like I'm way better than him, like just in case they need a confidence boost. But if I was on the roster, I'd be like, I don't know, guys, like maybe we're gonna lose to the Heat again. Like
game one,
gotta get it
game
together.
Yeah. What if they shoot 50% from three every game, guys? It's gonna be so bad.
Just crying on the bench. Going out 10, I'm just crying.
Every time the Heat hit a shot, you're just collapsing into your chair. It's like, can someone get Sam out of here, please?
I would be the most electric camera zoom guy ever. Like, did you see the zoom they did of Matt Ishbia yesterday in the Suns game? And he's just devastated. That would be me every time.
Yes.
Like, the Celtics would be up 15 after being up 25. I'd be like, don't know about this one, Chief.
Yeah, it's happening again. But no, it was a rough 72 hours, I think, for most people involved, if you're one of those people that's able to not care that they lost game 2, that it was like, that's a lucky game, and just ignore the previous lucky games that the Heat have had, more power to you. I woke up every time I woke up, the first thing I thought of was, cannot believe they lost that game. And oh my God, if they lose this next game, they will be down 2-1 and my world will be over. And so power to those people who weren't living their lives like that. Like I went for a hike, 2-hour, really difficult up a mountain. And like 60% of my thoughts were just like, fucking, they better win tomorrow, dude. They better win tomorrow.
Should I jump?
Yeah, I got to the top and I'm like, you know what? I don't actually have to find out if I just trip at the top here. And that'd be great.
My whole last couple of days was like, I really didn't take the Celtics. I mean, the Heat to win the series at plus 6,000. Am I an idiot? Why didn't I even? I should have threw my whole account on it. I would be like making $4,000 if I just threw $80 on the Heat.
Yeah, I went over the top on Celtics insurance the last couple. That was the problem with the extra 2 days off too, is because I had more time to continue to look at the line because the line went up. It started at I don't even know what it ended at, but the money line moved a fair bit between when it opened and when it closed, and I was like, oh well, I gotta keep loading the boat on to protect myself. And so as we said in the playback stream, I'm happy to pay for Celtics wins throughout the playoffs. I didn't bet on the Heat before game 2 because I was stupid and thought that after game 1, that, okay, we're past this. No Jimmy Butler, not going to be an issue. And so I've overcorrected. So everybody can thank me for donating a Celtics win to the playoff bank. Sam, I'm sure you were happy. They took this game seriously in that they didn't wear home whites on the road.
Correct. This is just great. Great progress, like learning from your mistakes in game 2 where you didn't really dress properly. I did a whole write-up for Celtics blog. And oddly enough, like I've referenced a great article from The Athletic that came out in January. And they actually interviewed like the Heat's equipment manager. So he was or not equipment manager, I'm sorry, chief marketing officer. Okay. Very different jobs. Didn't want to promote him. But anyways, he's talking about like every year since like 2006, Miami has done what they call white hot playoffs. They give out all these white t-shirts to the crowd, blah, blah, blah. But they only wear white at home. And I thought to myself, is this where the voodoo magic comes from? The basketball gods respecting honor. And the Celtics wore away jerseys on the road today. Excellent work. Really not that hard. Not hard at all.
Yeah. What color did the Heat wear today? Did they wear white today? Okay.
They did.
See, not even the white jerseys.
When the playing field's like even and one team isn't committing like treason, then the Celtics have an advantage. But when the Celtics are like pissing in the face of basketball gods, sometimes you're going to have the Heat shoot 50% from 3.
All right. So did we overreact to game 2? That's what I want to know. Because like there's plenty of people that were like, see, that's the fake Magic game. I've got a clip from Joe Mazzulla here talking about what the last 72 hours were like in comparison to our last 72 hours, I guess.
We just have to find that balance of focusing on what's most important. I think sometimes when we have a lot of time off, you can easily start to come up with all these things. And, at the end of the day, like the game's pretty simple. You got to find the simple things that you can execute, the simple things that you can take away. And then how do you just bring the right mindset and physicality? To me, I know it's mundane and the playoffs create a lot of hysteria, but there's no difference between a regular season and a playoff game. You just got to bring it, mentally, physically, emotionally. You just got to bring it. You got to execute. And so it's just preparing yourself for that.
Had me until he was like, there's no difference.
Yeah.
Well.
The one thing I definitely agree with is the playoffs can create a lot of hysteria because that's exactly how I feel and we feel, especially as fans throughout the playoffs. But yeah, Mazzulla, like he's right to an extent. The reality is you just have to bring the level of execution and mindset to each game, and they didn't bring it the right execution and mindset to game 2. The question is why not, I guess. And why did they bring it to game 1 and why did they bring it to game 3 but not to game 2? Was that just like they needed that one little spark and now we're back on track? I guess we're going to find out, but it's hard to say, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Mazzulla loves getting choked out, so maybe the team just loves getting choked out too, and they needed that to motivate them to actually try in a playoff game. But what he had to say in that little clip is fantastic because his real take and his real thought process in the 2 days off that were far too long was that, hey, let's get it together. Let's start trying in these areas that we know we can be better at, and we can eliminate the leaving it up to chance part of why we lost in game 2. And that's exactly what they did in this game. We watched the game on stream. Their defense from the tip was excellent. Their hustle was excellent. The shooters weren't as open as they were in game 2. They switched more. Porzingis held his own against the guards in the switch. Porzingis held his own against Bam Adebayo in the switch. And Bam was somebody that had a fantastic game too. And I personally was worried about because of the home opener back in October. He cooked the Celtics inside. He got anything he wanted because he's stronger than Porzingis. Porzingis was very clearly in his head today. Not only did he come out after game 1 and be like, I don't care about Bam, which is not the context of him not caring about the Bam. He's trying to win is really what the quote meant. But that came out and Bam was asked about it after game 2. And there was definitely a little bit of a chip on his shoulder today, trying to get a little extra buckets. And he forced a little bit. He got chippy with Porzingis in the third quarter. Porzingis was setting a screen. They were pushing each other, thought they were going to get double techs. And that man Bam could not get a basket in the paint with Porzingis. Porzingis was underneath the basket. He was underneath the backboard, and Bam still missed the layup. That's how much he was like embedded in Bam's thoughts.
Yeah, the arc of the Porzingis Bam battle has been great for this whole series, and in this game in particular as well. Like after game one, we get the question to Porzingis after game one. What's the battle with you and Bam going to be like? And Porzingis, I love when he's positive, he does this head movement in the presser, and he's like, it's not about me and Bam, it's about who's going to be in. He's going to be around. It's not about me and Bam, it's about the Celtics and the Heat. And Bam obviously took it to him, really games 1 and 2, but specifically game 2. But today, you pointed out in the stream, Bam had that and 1 that went over the backboard early in the game. And Bam's walking back to the free throw line being like, he can't fucking guard me. And from that moment, Porzingis could fucking guard him. Like, from the jump. And so that's a huge piece for this series and for Porzingis, I think, just from a confidence perspective. Like, stay down on those pump fakes and just contest with those crazy long Latvian arms. Because you're right, he had Bam on lock all game long. What did Bam end up with? 8 for 18. And like, how many Porzingis had? 2 blocks. Felt like more. Gonna have to go back and watch how many contests he had today. But like, 2 blocks, 5 for 9 from the field. But then Bam to go. Like, that's he's gonna be a massive source of offense and field goal attempts. If you hold him to that 8 for 18 mark, that's just when he's shooting 2-pointers as well. Like, if he's going 8 for 18 on threes or whatever, then that's a problem. But it's all in the 2-point range. 8 for 18. Exactly. That's beautiful.
Just shooting paint shots, 8 of 18. Yeah. Not good. He used all his makes up in game 2. That's what happened. And the funny thing is about game 2 is it really didn't feel like they were doing a terrible job guarding him either. Like, a lot of those makes in the mid-range were contested, like Porzingis was outstretched. And it's nice to see that the effort was actually rewarded with fair results today instead of the nonsense that we had to watch in game 2. But man, just the sheer amount of headache he was able to give Bam was excellent today. And I'm looking forward to that going forward in the playoffs, because throughout the season, it was just like a little bit worse. Like, well, like, what if they run into Embiid, which is still a thing, probably won't go the same as Bam. Embiid is far more skilled, MVP level player, of course. But it's like, okay, yeah, maybe he has a little bit of an answer. And not for nothing, Horford looked great too. When he was given the reps, there was no chance. Like, the solidity that Porzingis provided was almost doubled when Horford was on Bam. There was not even any like muscle given up in that matchup.
Yeah, I loved it to be able to go to Al as well. The defense overall was fantastic. I want to stick on Porzingis a little bit here. I've got his presser here as well.
How did you feel over the last couple of days, and how did that kind of set you up for tonight?
Oh man, it was a long 2 days, just the way it burns inside, after a game like that, after a loss like that, and me not probably having my worst game as a Celtic, it really burned inside. I'm not gonna lie. So I was long 2 days until I get another opportunity and I made some adjustments and I didn't fall too much into their game of this just physical like all the time, and that's what they want me to do. So a little bit different and completely different game today.
I love it. So this is the one. There's a few bits in there, but like the piece that like he mentioned, them trying to pull me into. It felt like he kind of held himself back from kind of going into exactly what they're trying to pull him into, but pulling him into like the physicality. And you mentioned it before. It looked like he was going to maybe get like a double tech at one point, and that is kind of they tried to frustrate him last game, and it worked by being physical with him. Just felt like he played his game. They didn't try and force it to KP today. Like, he only ended up with 9 shots. Ended up getting to the free throw line 6 times, 5 for 6 from the line. Just like a smooth Porzingis game. He ends up hitting those 3-pointers, which he didn't hit last game. But again, he didn't force it. He had that like monster trailer 3 in the second game, which like airballed. Whereas all of his shots today were in rhythm, in the flow. And like, this is a fear coming into the playoffs. Was like, okay, Porzingis has been incredible all season long. Is he going to be someone that carries into the playoffs? Like, the physicality, we've been talking about how Porzingis is light in the ass all year long, and he looked at least medium weight in the arse today, especially being able to hang under the rim and still contest Bam, but then to be really comfortable offensively and just pull points out of the mud, because the Heat, they still held the Celtics to 104 points. The Celtics still didn't shoot awesome from three, but that's the whole point of Porzingis is in a game like this, can you manufacture points? And he has 18 points on 9 shots. That's just huge for Porzingis.
Yeah, and he talked his shit before too. After game 2, he was he basically did Kyrie without having the Kyrie result. He was you're not going to see that again. I have to be better. And then he actually came out right away. There was no doubt. I think he made a 3 to start the game, and he had a big alley-oop dunk on a roll. There was no doubt that he came to play today right from the tip. And that's what you need out of guys that are going to be the pillars for your championship success. The mentality bounce back from him was great. The Celtics have been great at bouncing back all season. And this has been a nice reassurance that they still have we messed up, our bad. We're going to be accountable. We're going to go back. We're going to be better in the next game and actually mean it. Because last year, all you heard was, we're going to be better. 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 And then they would go out there and just shit the bed time and time and time again. My favorite one is Malcolm Brogdon. But it was ironically enough against the Wizards. Comes out.
I was going to say, know what you're talking about.
And he's we want the 1 seed. And then they fucking get killed by the Wizards. It's I don't know, be serious. And then they actually got a pseudo 1 seed because the Bucks lost the first round, so they had home court through the whole Eastern Conference run, and then they just didn't win their fucking home game. So it doesn't matter. That is the one complaint I had, and I know we kind of shot this back and forth in the playback. If I could pick, I would low key swap game 2 and 3, just because you could be okay, they are serious at home all the way. Don't mess with the Celtics. The Garden is still a fortress. I don't love that we saw a low energy, low effort game from them in game 2, but I am very impressed that they came out in a very tough place to play. Casillas Center down in Miami there with the half empty arena. And they did kind of just dominate wire to wire.
Yeah, I actually did win this game wire to wire. I don't believe the Heat led for a single second in this game. So the bounce back Celtics, this has been a thing going back to the Udoka year. Every time their back was against the wall in that playoff run, down 3-2 against the Bucks, down 3-2 against the Heat. No, they were down.
Sixers.
They were tied. Yeah, Sixers. They were down 3-2, down 3-2 against the Bucks. Well, even they lost Game 6 in Boston. To your point about the Garden not being which the Jimmy Butler 46-point bomb. I mean, they lost Game 3 in the Garden as well. Marcus Smart has the heroic. Hurts his ankle, comes back in, hits a 3 straight away. They how do you not win that game in the Garden with that type of juice with Marcus Smart putting the Willis Reed cape on? And that's been a thing that has happened. But look, you have that one slip up. Hopefully Game 5 is, that's the last home game of this series. That would be ideal. But so that's going to be the thing. How do they handle now the success? Because that's always been the problem with this team. It's they get the 40-point leads, they get the 20-point leads, they go up in series, they get the easy matchups in the playoffs, whether it's the Hawks or this Heat team. I do think this Heat team in particular does provide some value. It's you kind of have to be locked in because they will capitalize on all your mistakes. They will not stop scratching and clawing, and all of a sudden they can go on a run. So how do they handle the success of okay, you've won 1 game in a row. Can we now win this? Be the first team in the series to win 2 games in a row.
Hang the banner.
Come back
what
home.
You do.
Yeah. But yeah, so how do they handle?
Oh, yep.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Champagne. Yeah, I lagged. My bad.
No. I was trying to think it as me or you. You're good.
So I sure hope that they just kind of keep game 2 with them. I think. I mean, I don't know. It's really tough to say because, like you said, they won 1 in a row. I'm already penciling Monday as a win, which is a dangerous thing for me to do. It just feels like they kind of are okay, yeah, we got our ass beat in game 2. Probably shouldn't have dropped that game. we let our guard down. That's what happens when we let our guard down. It might be like kind of a blessing that they can just take a peek back and be like, okay, we are a great team, but we can still lose if we don't take it seriously all the way. And that's aside from the uniforms. They just didn't lock in defensively in that game. They didn't close out hard. They changed all these things tonight and they worked harder. And they won this game on defense. They scored 3 more points than they did on Wednesday. And they would have lost Wednesday if they had the same offensive performances tonight. If you just swap them identically, it may have changed the flow of the game a bit.
Sure.
That's the type of thing. Like, you need to like just remember this. Remember what it took to win this game, what it took to win game 1, and just completely carry on. Be like, okay, job's not finished. And Tatum kind of said it in his little walk-off interview that was like, hey, yeah, no. We can all like have a good time after the season. This is the playoffs. It's time to lock in.
Yes. Thank you. Agreed. Whatever you did after game 2, do the same thing after game 3. Yeah, like talking about the defense, because like clearly this was a defensive win. Like broadly, the Celtics shot 29.7% from 3, which is obviously not very good, but the Heat shot 32.1, so better than the Celtics, and the Celtics won by 20. Pretty good sign. The difference is obviously the volume of threes in this game. Like they did not allow the Heat to get threes off. They contested everything. They ran them off the line. The Heat shot 9 for 28 3-point attempts, and in game 2 they shot 43. So like that's the difference. And the game plan, the game plan went from, game 1, they kind of dared them to make shots as well. They just didn't make them. Game 2, they dared them again. Yeah, Eric Weiss. I didn't actually see Jaylen's reference. I did see your comment under my tweet before. But simple principles. Your 2-shot making has superior depth and breadth personnel-wise. Make them beat you on the tough stuff. Don't dare them to beat you on the easier stuff. And like that's what we were saying after last game and yesterday. It's like they can't score on you. Like just guard your yard. Make Jaime Jaquez, make Tyler Hero. Like honestly, I'm very impressed with Jaime Jaquez. Honestly, mate, that guy can
he had
ball.
less
but like,
points than I thought.
Yeah,
he had 12
also,
points. He had a billion points.
Well, he was 5 for 13, and and all of those makes were tough. And Tyler Hero goes 5 for 16, and pretty much all of them were tough. It's like, make these guys earn every single bucket. Get over this. I'm not even sure how much they adjusted defensively. I'm gonna have to go back and watch. Like, they didn't switch everything, but the screen navigation was so much better. And like playing drop coverage, but also like executing a switch. If a guy gets caught on a screen, then switch it, and like having the communication, being in sync to know when certain guys are going to make certain decisions is something that we've become accustomed to all season long. And in game 1, and then game 2, it completely fell apart. So like adjustment wise, I personally didn't notice a ton different. And we did say that, like, I'm not sure they need to necessarily adjust. Like, just do what you do better. Like, contest everything. Don't dare them to make stuff. Just do what you were the second best defense in the NBA for a reason. Just treat like you held the Denver Nuggets well below their season average in scoring both times. Just pretend like the fucking Heat are the Denver Nuggets again, and that's what they did tonight, and that's why they had 12 points in the first quarter, and that's when the game effectively ended right there.
Yeah, so it's funny. I just finished talking to Jack, of course, and he was telling me at the press conference, Joe Mazzulla was like, he really didn't want to concede that they made adjustments. And he just kind of talked about, like, similar to what you had to say, or you played in his clip. I think that was pregame that he was talking about how they spent the 72 hours.
That was postgame, the one I played today, I think.
Oh, it was postgame. Okay. And it's kind of funny because the only thing it was like biggest adjustment ever, just try. And you could see the effort. Like Pritchard, we had the moment in the stream where we went nuts because he crashed the glass, got a putback, and Derrick White cashed in on a few putbacks as well. Getting those extra shots helps. Like, extra shot attempts are good. That's what you need. And that's how you can win dogfight games. I loved it. I loved the defensive effort. You mentioned the screen navigation. I think Jack pinpointed Pritchard as a guy that did a tremendous job of chasing Hero around. That is just excellent stuff to get from your bench spark plug guy. He's supposed to be the guy that comes in and scores buckets. Instead, he's getting offensive rebounds and navigating screens on defense. That guy rules. I love Pritchard.
Yes, dude. Preach on Pritchard, man. Tenacious P was out there today. 3 for 5 from the field, 3 rebounds, 2 offensive rebounds, an assist. He actually did have 2 turnovers. I honestly don't remember the turnovers off the top of my head. But, man, yeah, he came in, hit a big 3 early. The fact that he comes in and he's like the dirty work guy while also, he's the TJ McConnell, while also being like the 6'1", supposed to space the floor kind of guy. Really important minutes for him, man. Like, I absolutely love it. Something that maybe they did a little bit more, they pressured ball handlers a bit more. I know Bill Simmons had the tweet being like, can't believe the Celtics figured out they should pressure the team that has no ball handlers, and it worked because they won the turnover. They won the turnover battle 12-5, and that's like the key to winning any Heat game is win the turnover battle. And when you're winning it 12-5, and the points off turnovers, I don't have a number right in front of me, but it was like 20-4, or like they dominated the turnover points off turnover battle. And if you're doing that against the Heat, like there's no chance for them to really hang around. And so control what you can control. I love it. Like pressure like Duncan Robinson. I mean, I don't think he's healthy. When I watch him play, like there's clearly something going on there. But like Caleb Martin had 2 turnovers. Tyler Hero had 4 turnovers. They should be having turnovers if they're gonna. And this is why you run them off the line. Force Caleb Martin to put the ball on the ground. Force Tyler Hero to make moves and like work himself into the ground, and eventually starts turning the ball over.
Yeah, to your point, Caleb Martin tried to drive a closeout today and kicked the ball out of bounds. He literally dribbled it right off his fucking foot in the first quarter. And we were like, oh yeah, like that's right. He can make catch and shoot threes if you leave him wide open, but if you ask him to do anything more than that, it's probably not going to go very well. And everybody not named Tyler Hero is pretty much the same story. Haywood Highsmith had a couple of nice drives today. Can you think of anybody else? Can you think of anybody else that has really killed them in a shot creation, drive the closeout type of thing? Even like Bam. Bam is a superstar player. He's really a defensive talent more than anything. He's just a hoss down low, but he does make difficult shots from time to time. He does have an offensive game. And instead, he's taking everything difficult. Javi Hawkins is taking everything difficult. And the rest of these guys are just hanging out and running off of Bam screens. Which they figured it all out today. And because they did that, it was an easy win. And they did. So in game 2, the Heat out Celtics the Celtics. In game 3, the Celtics out heated the Heat. They messed up the game for Miami.
Yes. I like this. I like that. We don't need to play like the Celtics. Hey man, this is definitely a game and a win for the Celtics can win other ways because they got up 37 threes, not a ton. Didn't shoot better percentage than the Heat. They mucked it up. They exactly like you said, they took the fight to the Heat. And that's what you have to do against this team. Yeah, they make you earn it, these Miami Heat guys. Speaking of, I know you mentioned a tip in before. Derrick White. It's been too long. 28 minutes in here. We haven't spoken about Derrick White here. I mean, this game, like awesome defense to start the game. They hold the Heat to 12 points. But the second quarter, Celtics go 42 points scored to the Heat 27, 42-27. And like effectively that's when the game's over, right? Like the Heat actually won the second half, technically, because they won the fourth quarter 23-17. But that second quarter, and Derrick White was unreal in that second quarter. Derrick White goes 5 for 7, 2 for 4 from 3. 12 points. And he had, I'm not sure if I'm going to call it the play of the game here, but he had a reverse Uno card PTSD moment.
See if they make an adjustment at halftime, but by then, this thing could be out of reach.
Missed on the three-point try, but a follow by Derrick White.
Spoelstra had a look of PTSD.
I love it.
He had the Bill Simmons with like the helicopter in the background picture, but it was actually Spoelstra seeing the tip in go. Yeah. And it's about time. I'm sick and tired of being the only people that have to deal with this stuff. The flashback. It's so disgusting. Derrick White, credit to him for having no faith in Jaylen Brown. As Jaylen Brown is moving the ball up to shoot it, he's already sprinting towards the rim. So what does that say?
Yeah, I do hate that I had to come off a Jaylen miss. I wish I could have come off like an anybody else missed free throw. I hate that, Derrick White probably knew that one wasn't going in. I learned that rule today. So apparently if you're outside the 3-point line, you can go as soon as the ball is released. I thought it was from outside the 3-point line. You can't, like you're like similar to the free throw shooter. The guy shooting the free throw can't move until it touches the rim. Apparently, you can go as soon as the ball is released from outside the 3-point line. I'm not sure why people don't do that more often. I guess it's so you can't get runouts back the other way. But Derrick White and then the flash to Spoelstra's face there. I really love to see that. Speaking of Spoelstra and I shouldn't go too far off base here, but Spoelstra is definitely searching from a personnel perspective. No Kevin Love. We saw Thomas Bryant today as well. Once the Celtics, stopped letting the Heat play the Celtic strategy, the roster on the Heat isn't quite up to snuff here. But sticking on Derrick White, man, those 12 points in that second quarter, when the Celtics are at their best, I feel like is when Derrick White is being aggressive. And coming into the series, coming into the playoffs in general, I had 1 point or one stat for each player. I didn't even have a stat for Derrick White. It's you just know it when you see it with Derrick White. When he's just taking over in little spurts, being aggressive, because so much attention gets shaded towards Jason and Jaylen. He's getting these easier matchups, whether it's got Jovic or Hero or Highsmith. He can attack. He starts to have success, and the next thing you know, he's getting downhill, help's coming. He finds that little lob to Al Horford for a little alley-oop, probably the first alley-oop from Horford we've seen in a little while. But yeah, Derrick White being aggressive is just one of the number one symptoms of the Celtics being successful.
It's true. I want to credit Jack because he mentioned this to me in our recording. Not to ruin the whole thing for anybody that's actually going to watch it. But he was talking about Derrick White having possessions where he was the point guard. And there was a lot of Tatum at point guard today, and there usually is. But when Derrick White did it today, Jack mentioned it being when they were taking over the game. He slowed everything down. He made sure the ball moved. He made sure the right shots were shot. And on top of all of that, he hustled. He had several what do you have? 2 offensive rebounds? Three offensive rebounds before I start talking on my ass. And he had 2 of them were putbacks. Don't know about the third one. He had an incredibly clutch stretch in this game. And one thing we talk about with the Celtics all the time is, hey, they suck in the clutch. And it's facts. And at the end of games, I don't think they're very good. I hate watching them play a close game. It's heart monitor catastrophe. But at the same time, with basketball, there are clutch moments throughout the game, regardless of what the time or even the score says, because Miami was trying to make a comeback in this game. Obviously, they didn't want to just roll over and die. It's not what the Miami Heat do. And it felt like Derrick White made very timely baskets, whether it were the putback ones, whether it were a couple of threes he made. I think he had one in particular when they were kind of chipping into the lead, and he just brought it right back to 22. Those are the shots they need him to hit. And typically in crunch time, he actually is an incredible shooter. So I think that bleeds over into those big momentum shots too, and that's huge for him.
Yeah, dude, Derrick White, Mr. White, if you're listening, I think there's a chance you might be. You keep replying to the tweets, and I know the Celtics, there's been plenty of times when it's when Derrick White's being himself, that's good for this team. Tatum, yes. Jaylen. And I just think it's just in his nature to take a step back and kind of let things unfold. And hopefully today is they go back and watch the film. They go back and watch what he did in that second quarter. I'm with you. All the numbers of Derrick White, Porzingis pick and roll numbers, they're absolutely elite. There's a reason why Derrick White is tops in the league in estimated plus minus when it's usually just superstars. He just is one of those guys where good things happens. And the more that he's involved, the better. He's really kind of is the star version of Marcus Smart. It's there's very there's no yes moments with Derrick White. It's just he's just doing the right thing. Very rarely is the decision that he makes the wrong thing. It's that's the correct thing to do. He's when he takes pull up threes when he has to, and it's whereas someone else might try and move the ball. It's shot clock's getting down to 7 or 8, and he gets the ball swung to him and he just pops it. He misses a bunch of them, but it's like, get that shot up. That's more valuable than whatever we're going to find with 7 seconds left on the shot clock. Yeah, he's like the yes version, and Marcus kind of had to. Damn it, I hate that I kind of took a shot at Marcus right here. But I'll bring it back once we start talking about Jrue Holiday. Don't worry. But yeah, I think go ahead.
Derrick White, not for nothing, also was like the guy that tried his very best to win Game 7. Like he had a takeover stretch in Game 7 last year. He can do it. Like he can legitimately create for himself. He can create for the rest of the team. He had a possession where he cooked Jovic. He hit him with a mid-range step back like a superstar would. You don't see Derrick White take mid-range followays. That is a superstar level of shot. Guys like Derrick White don't get to take shots like that, and he has permission. So credit to him. He ruled in this game. The Celtics are absolutely at their best when he is firing and he's just confident and he's willing to take the shots and take the risks because he might be like their third best offensive player. Seriously.
Yeah, look, he's legitimately a 3-level scorer. Like he doesn't get to the mid-range a lot, but that was something he did more of when he was in San Antonio. I don't have the mid-range numbers up in front of me here, but I bet you they're like, just like everything that Derrick White does, I bet you they're pretty good because all of his numbers are pretty good. But yeah, like that mid-range pull-up over Jovic was awesome. So like, yeah, him being the guy is like super important, and he has gone in and out of playoff games and series since he's arrived in Boston. And this year in particular was like, okay, he's taken another step up. Part of that with Marcus going out the door, they absolutely empowered him to be this version of himself. And we hadn't really seen that version of Derrick White at all in this series until today. I wonder if I'm just blanking on how good he was in the first game of this series, but I don't remember him being like
he had like 13 points. But he didn't really have points until the game was over. I don't think he just wasn't very involved. He didn't take a lot of shots early in game 1 from my memory. And
that's right.
He did play a big role in kind of helping them put out the fire in the fourth quarter. But he didn't really have like a big hand in building the lead.
He was 6. He did have 20 points on 6 for 10, 4 for 8. So he had more points than this game, which is so we're misremembering it, but I don't know. I guess that game was also different. Like we felt like we needed the points more in this game. Like everybody was like we were just kind of dominating that game kind of from the get-go, I guess. But the point stands. We got aggressive Derrick White in game 1 and we won by 20. We got aggressive Derrick White again and we won by 20. And what did we not get in game 2? Aggressive Derrick White. So more aggressive Derrick White is always the move. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, probably should talk about them. The guys that are the superstars on this team.
No, you don't need time. Fuck those guys. They need credit for it.
Yeah. Jason Tatum, 22 points on 16 shots, 6 for 16, 2 for 7 from 3, 8 for 12 from the line. 12 free throw attempts I love. 8 for 12 I don't love. That's 66.7%. 11 boards, 6 assists, 0 turnovers. So like overall, like good game. Obviously, you probably want him to make one more of those threes. Got a stat for us here. Players with over 3,000 playoff points before turning 27 years old. Kobe, LeBron, Jason Tatum. Pretty good.
He probably fucking loves that. He's going to try so hard to pass LeBron this season. So it's just him and Kobe. What was funny is when I opened the box score, I could not believe Tatum was 6 of 16. And I am typically the notice every bad Tatum thing ever guy. This wasn't a game that felt like that. It actually felt like a Tatum takeover game where he was dominating and making all the shots and he hit them all when they mattered. I can't believe he only made 6 shots in this game. I guess they all felt big, and him getting to the line for 12 free throws obviously is important too. Just overall great game. He had control of this game. He was the puppet master. He made tremendous passes to his teammates, 6 assists, and I'm sure he had plenty more of connecting assists too.
Oh, that Hauser assist at the top, and then
dime on the cut.
That was beautiful. Yeah, so I think that's why it probably feels better, is it coincided with the Derrick White second quarter. So Tatum second quarter, 13 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 0 turnovers obviously, but 3 for 6, 2 for 4 from 3, and 5 for 6 from the free throw line. So like he did take over in that second quarter, and kind of as we said before, that second quarter was the game. And so he took over, and the game was over. Solid game. I think Tatum's been great in this series so far. Hasn't been incredibly efficient in games 1 and 3, but the way that he's controlled the game in those games, we wanted him to take over more in game 2. That was like the one guy that was kind of really, really cooking, and we would have liked to see, like, ironically, that was his most efficient night. Scoring the ball was game 2, but he definitely felt like he was more impactful in the last 2 games. But yeah, I know. We call it a captain's knock on first to the floor here for the cricket fans out there. A captain's knock, just a real steady performance. Didn't get out. Just really steady the ship, and that's all we needed from Tatum today was just settle the ship down, play good defense, and 0 turnovers against a Heat team for Tatum is really important.
It really feels like the captain's knock should be the goal every game for Tatum. I think the Celtics are truly at their best if he's just doing what he needs to do and he's not doing anything extra. Now, there are absolutely going to be times where he has to do everything, and that's fine. But this team is so good. They got all these guys. He doesn't have to have 35 points. He can. And it's great when he takes over a big game. He's done it in the past. He's had massive games and big back against the wall spots, and that's what makes him great. But also what makes him great is having 6 assists, 11 rebounds, and 22 points while only taking 16 shots, which is far less than people expect of him.
Mm-hmm.
Just overall, solid game. Can't complain at all. I don't love the 3.
This is
always.
Yeah. I know, but seven's not too many. That's down
Correct.
from his normal amount, so that's okay. Yeah, dude. Like the best version of this Celtics team is the spread offense. Like Jaylen ends up having 20 shots in this game, but like 22 points, 18, 16, like, and that was the same in game 1 in that everyone was very, very even. Like Tatum had the most field goal attempts in game 1, but he only had 18. It was 18 for him. Jaylen had 12. Porzingis had 13. Derrick White had 10. Jrue Holiday had 8 field goal attempts. He made 2.
What are you gonna do?
So it was nice and spread around. Yeah, and I think that's the version of Tatum. Well, look, there's going to be moments. I think that's going to be the key, though. Game 2, can he feel it? And like, I need to go superstar mode because we needed him to take over. And because it was just one of those games, whereas like today we didn't. It was a team effort. Moving the ball was the right decision. There are going to be moments where we're going to need him to take over. It's like, can he sense those moments and then go to that level? Because I think that's probably a piece of the game that is just like it's hard to kind of figure out at times. It's
just kind of funny that he just didn't have to do anything. Just hanging out.
Yeah.
It's funny in game 2, all season, I have been shouting to whoever will listen, give the ball to Kristaps down the stretch. And it almost felt like they were trying to save that like up their sleeve for a close playoff game. And they really tried to force it to him. And it just wasn't the night for it. It was just a really weird spot for them to all of a sudden finally try and do the right thing in the clutch. Like, that would have been a perfect spot for regular season Tatum. Just, okay, watch this. Like, he had it. Do it. Yep. I'm all in. No problem with it.
Loved it. Captain's knock, Tatum. We love to see it.
Yes, really.
Jaylen, solid. Yeah, of course.
Starts
Do we win because of the Celtics? Yeah, always. Top to bottom, baby. Did Jaylen Brown? Mostly solid game. Again, like the 0 for 4 from 3, but he ends up 11 for 20. So only took 1 free throw, 0 for 1. I don't know. I think the free throws is going to be something we're going to have to just live with at this point.
Calculated miss. Rather than getting 1 point, they got 2.
Yeah, that's right. So maybe that's just an all-in thing. Everybody start rebounding Jaylen Brown free throws here. But yeah, I thought it was solid. He like attacked Hero the correct way for the most part. I thought going through guys, getting to the rim. I wonder if I can pull up his shot from this game because I feel like it was like very a lot around the rim today. But for the most part, I liked his game. Yeah, shot zone. Yeah, most 12 of his attempts. Yeah, actually, pretty much everything came from the paint, and except for the 3-point shots. And that's the type of Jaylen that I like. Like, he's just gotten so good in that mid-range, in that paint area, those like little floater shots. So, didn't hit any threes, but I didn't think he forced any threes either. And so, I thought Jaylen, again, Jaylen, if I can get one turnover from Jaylen, that's usually pretty symptomatic of Jaylen having a pretty good game.
Yeah, I mean, I like that he was 11 of 16 inside the arc. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yes.
He was under control on the drive. The turnovers reflect that. That is when Jaylen's at his best. That stretch he had in March when he was just dominating games, the 46-point, whatever he had in Denver, that was because he was going to the basket, and he was doing it strong. He was knocking guys out of the way, and he looked like nobody could stop him. Saw a little bit of that tonight. Went through Hero a couple times. Had some great drives. Had some nice cuts without the basketball. That's a great way for him to get involved. It's a great way to limit the turnovers. Not worry about him trying to handle the ball on the drive because it's not something he's the greatest at. That's when he can impact the game. Go for it. I'm in. Do it. Jaylen, cut. Be ready without the ball. Yep. I love the game we got from Jaylen today. I liked the shot selection. I thought he forced a couple mid-ranges that weren't the greatest. But overall, he's so efficient inside the arc. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's perfect, man. He's really cut down on his 3-point attempts, and he said that earlier in the year. Like, this team doesn't need that from me. He's the rim pressure. He's like, can we just get a bucket sometimes? And like, he gets you good looks. 11 for 16 inside the arc is absolutely beautiful. Jaylen and Jason, like they were excellent in game 2 as well. We kind of struggled offensively outside of those guys, and I thought they rebounded quite well. The only guy that I think had a not great game, Jrue Holiday, 1 for 5, 1 for 3 from 3, 2 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 2 turnovers. I feel like we're getting the Jrue Holiday that we were warned about in the playoffs. I don't know.
Kind of, but also he's not like actively hurting them. He had it like team high plus minus today, and some people believe in plus minus, some people don't. But he did a lot.
He did that in game 2 as well. That's because he gets to play with Tatum.
I mean, it's fair.
Yeah.
It's fair. He did a good job moving the ball, which is kind of his primary offensive function, I suppose. He makes the right reads. He's calm if he has to be the nail guy against his zone. He's not making layups, which isn't the greatest thing in the world. He did get a 3 waved off because his foot was on the out of bounds line. So he actually low key should have 6 points, 2 of 4 from 3. And 2 of 6 from the field.
That would look better.
It would look better. But I don't know. He still did an okay job on defense. Jack had high praise for his defense. I know in the stream, the gang wasn't thrilled with his defensive output. His closeouts sometimes weren't the greatest. But overall, I don't think he's actively hurting them. He's still kind of tackling the things that they need him to tackle. He had 2 blocks and a steal in this game. So, the statistic defense was pretty decent. Obviously, that's not everything. As long as he's not actively taking away from the team, I'm cool with it. His job is to be the 5th guy in the starting lineup.
And that's been the theory with Jrue this whole year. It's like, if we do get the offensive bed shitting from Jrue, it's not going to have a massive impact on the team. Or at least it shouldn't. Like, when he was the second option or the third option for the Bucks, him having those catatonic offensive outputs is obviously going to be a disaster. But, he had 5 shot attempts tonight. He literally was tied for last on the team on shot attempts. Even Horford had more shot attempts than him. Even Hauser had more shot attempts than him. So it's okay, that's what I like to see. Last game, he forced it. He had 12 field goal attempts, and he was forcing it. Tonight, didn't force it. I don't mind him taking pull-up threes, even though they don't feel like the right shot at times. In the playoffs, you got to get shots up. You got to try and get points out of the mud. He was 6th in the NBA on all players that took more than 2 pull-up threes per game this year. 39% on pull-up threes. Elite number. So you have to live with him taking those shots. It was better today. I thought he made some really nice plays. I'm just I'm wary. And I do think he will settle in. Similar to how he took the longest to settle into his role on this team, which I've said before in the playoffs. Maybe it's just kind of the same thing again, where we just kind of like got to get to a point where Jrue gets comfortable with himself in this new context in the playoffs. Because Mazzulla can talk about how the playoffs and regular season are the same. They're just not. And I think maybe Jrue, he needs to figure that out a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm curious if the Celtics play really well Monday and they blow out the Heat again. Do you keep him out there a little bit to try and get some kind of offense going, to get him a little bit comfortable putting the ball in the basket? Like tonight, it was really weird when they subbed out and brought in like the bench guys because Jaylen and Derrick White were still on the floor. Maybe Jrue's in that role where it's like, okay, Jrue, run a pick and roll, get a layup, see it go through the basket. Be comfortable taking a step back three. Like the three he made today was kind of a big one. I think I've said every shot that I talked about somebody making was a big one today.
Yeah, they're all big. They are all big.
But I can see the concern. Like, I get it. His numbers haven't been good so far. But at the same time, I'm cool with like his role. He has like a good place on this team where like you said, you can handle the offensive stuff. He's fitting in the team. He's not actively hurting them. He's not forcing it in this game, at least. So that's fine. It'll be fine going forward. And maybe he will get a rhythm. Yeah. That'll be great.
Yeah. The 3-point shot still looks good mostly. Like, as you said, he had a foot on the line today. Should have been 2 for 4. So, like, if he's going to be shooting well enough from 3, that's really the only thing that I think really matters from an offense perspective. As long as he's not, like, turning the ball over too much for how much he's touching the ball, which, like, 2 turnovers for how high his usage was today is, like, not ideal. But, you know, overall, okay. I'm getting like, I can see there being moments where I'm like, okay, maybe Jrue needs to go to the bench and it needs to be the Horford Porzingis lineup instead.
Sure. I wonder if that doesn't get waved off if he has a better game. You know, like see the first one go in, get comfortable, like that kind of thing. That could have happened for him today too. I guess he technically still buried the shot, so he should have that like mental like yes in his mind, but he should be okay.
Yeah, I can be fine. All right. What else we got? So Cornet played today.
He's fine.
He came in early. He was fine. KP got those 2 fouls early, so I think that was part of why he came back in. Didn't love how Mazzulla went to the Horford Cornet lineup. It's not something that's been super amazing this year, but I do understand putting him in when they were struggling to find some offense. Derrick White and Cornet have been awesome in the pick and roll this year. And it's like, okay, let's throw Cornet out there. Maybe they find some easy baskets off the pick and roll. They didn't. Joe did not stick with Cornet for long. Cornet played 5 minutes in this game. Was a -6. It didn't work. I didn't think it was disastrous by any means.
No. I mean, Cornet
is fine.
The great thing about Luke Cornet is if you don't notice him, good game. If you do notice him for a good reason, it's house money. And it's very rare that you're like, this guy sucks. Get him off the floor. It just doesn't happen. He sets good screens. He rebounds. He contests well at the rim. He's fine. He got put in a few switches today. Don't think he got cooked, but he didn't look super comfortable. I don't expect to see a ton of him in this series, but there could be a place for him somewhere down the line in the playoffs. It's just kind of hard with Porzingis and Horford being such mainstays in the rotation that you're like, does Cornet really need to take either one of these guys off the floor? The answer is no.
No, yeah, exactly. If there's no foul trouble, then there's no reason for him to play. But dude, it's nice to have him because like he can come in and just be like, that's all you need, 5 minutes, and then that's the KP. And if it's not disastrous, then that's the KP foul trouble solved. It is interesting to me that it's not Tillman. Where like when that Tillman trade happened, I was like, oh, we're gonna get Tillman in the playoffs. He's kind of built for the playoffs, switch everything, kind of a really good defender. But he's definitely the 4th big on this team. I don't really expect to see him.
Celtics undefeated with Cornet. Missing piece.
I like that. What's up, brother? Jesse in the chat. Welcome. We are getting ready to wrap up here, but yeah. Yeah.
What's up, brother? He fucking loves that guy.
What's up, brother? Special Cornet, special Hauser, special plays. All right, Hauser, 2 for 4 from 3. Dude, man, he just comes in. He plays solid defense. He hits big shots. You talk about big shots. Hauser, was he two? I got my
1 of 5.
Was he 1 for 5 today? 1 for 5. I look at him. I got all three. I got all 3 of my box scores up here. So I'm like,
choice.
I'm like, did I screw that up from the first 3 games? Yeah. So 1 for 5, but the one that he made was big. So
was big.
This is it is a tricky matchup for Hauser because like the way to exploit Hauser's defense is to run him through screens. In isolation, Hauser's good defensively, but when he has to now start navigating screens, that's when he can struggle. And so this matchup can be a little bit tricky for Hauser, but so I can understand going to Cornet to see if they can survive some of those minutes without going to Hauser. But 2 for 6 doesn't kill you. He ends up being a plus 15 in this game, but yeah, not a huge Hauser game now that I've read the box score correctly. But I think
1 of
going
5
forward he can play. But yeah.
But 1 technical draw.
True.
Got Tyler Hero to throw
He
the basketball out.
Yes, which was weird.
Tyler Hero,
not sure why.
None too pleased that Sam Hauser is a white guy from Wisconsin because that shows other people what a white guy from Wisconsin should act/sound like. And Tyler Hero, also being a white guy from Wisconsin, does not act or sound like that. So probably isn't too pleased that, oh man, they might know I'm being a phony.
He's a tier one phony, Tyler Hero.
Did you see his post-game outfit?
Oh no, but
He looks like such an asshole. Not that you would be shocked.
Dude, I mean, one that stuck out to me from sometime this year. He was wearing like a beanie that looked like he looked like he wears like a bunny rabbit hat. And like, granted, I'm the guy wearing a colorful bucket hat right now, but like, Tyler Hero wore like a beanie that looked like, yeah, it's also true. He it's kind of supposed to be dumb, and so, but he had this beanie that had like rabbit ears on it, and I legitimately found a 2-year-old's hat that was a rabbit beanie, and it looked identical. So like, I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm not a Tyler Hero guy. He's got the pubes on the chin. Got to get rid of those as well. Yeah, good job by Hauser drawing a technical. I'm not sure why Hero was so mad at Hauser. He just kind of like tripped, and he got the foul call too.
He's like,
so
you can't be blowing up my spot like this. People are gonna start asking why I don't sound like you.
People are gonna start wondering why I'm not loading up on cheese in the post games. It's just like, what's going on here? I mean, I don't know. Look, we got game 4. Thankfully, only 1 day off here. We don't have to, which I think is good. We don't get to revel in which I'm ready to go now. Let's get the next game onto the road.
Play right now. I'm ready.
Let's get going. Let's get up 3-1 in this series. I'm feeling better now. Obviously, after a win, we feel better, but just play defense. That's this series. It's like the Heat are going to have success mucking up our offense. Just come out and do the best possible job you can playing defense. Lock the fuck in on that end. I just don't see how the Heat can win this series or win another game for that matter. Any closing thoughts, Sam?
Literally, please just try. I'm just asking, please try.
Maximum try.
Just try.
Maximum try. Yeah. And well, Denver loses tonight. The one night I loaded up on Denver money line.
Did you?
Lakers. I did, but I loaded up on their money line last game as well. So we'll call it even. But I'm surprised. Denver don't know how to step on the throat. But here's everyone that's gonna say like, oh, Denver, they should get shit by the media for losing. They won a title. They went 16-4 in the playoffs last year. They, to me, have earned the benefit of the doubt. The Celtics have not earned the benefit of the doubt, in my opinion. So yeah, that's my take on people thinking that with the Nuggets.
Yeah, they absolutely have earned it.
Yeah.
They did have the doubt last year, for what it's worth.
Yeah,
I doubted that part. I was like, fucking Jokic sucks.
Put him in a pick and roll, dude.
Yeah.
Put him in a pick and roll. That'll work. Yeah, so another team, 3-1. Celtics 2-1. We'll be back at some point with another podcast. We'll be back streaming game 4. Sam, thank you for sticking out for a late night.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a pleasure as always. Go watch the How About Them Celtics postgame show as well, which when will that one be dropping?
5 a.m. our time, 9 p.m. Australian time. Look at me knowing time difference, even though you guys got a couple over there, but I know one of them.
There you go.
One of them's 14.
All right, that's impressive. I can't do the reverse. I can only go Australia to the US. I can't flip it. I guess it's the same, but in my head it gets confusing. All right, Blorp, Rivens, Mary Poppins, Landon, the real Daryl, Jazz, everybody listening to the audio podcast. It's been a pleasure. Until next time, go Celtics.